Chapter 6. Bound. Yamura stares at the defenseless human and begins to feel pity for the great warrior. Enkidu has proved himself honorable and worthy of the Sakari's respect. Killing him like this does not seem right. "Release him from your power," Yamura says, sheathing his sword. "What?" Hui shouts. "You cannot be serious." Yamura nods. "We have thus far fought an honorable duel. I do not wish for my victory to be tainted in this manner. I shall defeat this man with my strength alone. I do not require your assistance." "Your pride is not as important as our victory. This may be our one opportunity to kill this man." "If I fail, then you may do as you wish. Until then, he is still my adversary, not yours." Enkidu stands up, shocked that Yamura has decided to spare him. "I did not think you had such honor. I was mistaken." Enkidu holds his blade out towards the Sakari. "Let us finish this battle as equals, Yamura of Averno." Yamura nods. "You have been my greatest foe, Enkidu. I shall not forget this battle. But do not be mistaken, you will not survive. I will still be the one left standing when all is said and done." Yamura lets out a deep breath, and the tattoos on his skin begin to dissolve into his aura, causing its intensity to brighten. Enkidu backs away in surprise, feeling his opponent's strength increasing many times over. "How does his strength grow?" Enkidu whispers. Hui folds his arms across his chest and grins. "He does not share the secret of his seal lacellaire technique with even us." "Silence! You speak too freely with our adversary." "I am not the one who addressed the monkey as an equal and dignified him by saying his name with respect," Hui growls. Enkidu raises his sword, but Yamura moves at him with unbelievable speed. The Sakari slashes quickly, knocking Enkidu's sword from his hand and cutting open his forearm with a flash of blood. Enkidu leaps away as Yamura swings again and again with alarming speed. Yamura connects with several grazing strikes, and soon Enkidu is covered by a mist of his own blood. I cannot keep this up any longer. His speed has increased far too much, and mine only continues to deplete as I tire further. Enkidu tries to think of an alternate plan, but Yamura is relentless and continues to press forwards upon him with furious attacks. Hui steps back and leans against a tree to watch the battle. "This should not last long. Yamura cannot be defeated by a mere human after storing up that much power from his seal ability. His power will soon overwhelm our formerly problematic friend," Hui says to himself with a chuckle. The Sakari General Yamura advances, the force of each swing pushing Enkidu back. The man struggles not to be toppled over by the crushing blows. Small black flames ripple along the Sakari's arms like an electrical current, fueling his increased strength. "The seal ability is actually quite an unfair technique, if you think about it." Hui laughs, watching with enjoyment as the human's greatest defender is brought low before them. "I mean, I know of no one else who can be at the very brink of death and return moments later to surpass his foe." "I told you," Yamura shouts, driving Enkidu to a knee with his next strike. "Stop speaking so freely." "What?" Hui asks, annoyed at being yelled at by a subordinate. "Are you really afraid one of these humans might develop a strategy to counter your seal?" He begins to laugh loudly at the absurdity of the statement. "You're paranoid. Not one of these humans are going to live long enough to ever understand your power, let alone develop countermeasures." "You stored energy in those markings on your body," Enkidu says, straining against Yamura's sword. "And somehow, you can trade those markings in exchange for a power-up." "Damn you, Hui!" Yamura screams, pushing back against Enkidu with all of his strength. Enkidu slides his sword to the left just enough to twist his body to the side, and cause Yamura to fall forward off balance. A mist of blood fills the air, and Enkidu leaps away, panting with exhaustion. "I will not allow you to defeat me, demon." Enkidu coughs, his chest heaving rapidly. "I do not know if you have any more of those markings hidden on your body to release, but I shall push you to use them all before putting you down for good. The hopes and future of all Katal to cook. No, the entire world rely on me stopping you here and now." Yamura chuckles, blood dripping from a cut across his chest. "Such confidence. Most beings would give up in the face of such adversity. Yet you seem to grow stronger the worse your odds become. You are truly a one-of-a-kind specimen in this world. It has been my honor being your final opponent." "Unbelievable," he whispers in shock. "Could that human truly outlast the effects of Yamura's seal, Asilair?" Yamura releases more of his markings, converting the seal tattoos into combat energy. He moves with increased ferocity, pushing Enkidu back once more. "No matter how many times you get back up, I will strike you down again," Yamura shouts, hammering his blade against Tiavan and causing pain to shoot down the length of Enkidu's arms as he defends. "And I shall get back up as many times as necessary to stop you," Enkidu shouts, pushing Yamura's sword back and trying to rush in with a thrusting stab. Yamura evades the attack by grabbing Enkidu's wrist and sidestepping before driving an elbow into the man's face. Enkidu stumbles back, blood exploding from his nose. "You are stubborn, but that alone will not keep you alive for much longer. I hold every advantage in this battle. You stand no chance of defeating me, human." "Perhaps I was wrong to doubt him. It seems Yamura has this one handled." Hui glances around at the various skirmishes scattered around the open area. The women, children, and elderly continue to escape through the rear exit, as the men and Levant soldiers have the Sakari forces completely engaged. "I guess I should focus on eliminating the magicians. If we allow them to close the doorway, we will be trapped here without any reinforcements," Hui thinks, seeing Fausto and the others slip out of the city. "Looks like there are 5 of them. They needed 7 to close the portal. Perhaps there are 2 more of them in hiding." Hui straightens up and draws his sword, preparing to hunt down and kill the magicians to prevent them from cutting Earth and Averno off from each other once more. Forced back by the stronger opponent, Enkidu knows that if he does not end this battle soon, his chances for survival are slim. He notices the other Sakari officer headed for the rear gate, and concern for the safety of his friends grows paramount. "I may not be able to defeat this one in single combat now that he is powered up. But if I can somehow lure him within range of the rift, I can send him back to the world from whence he came." Enkidu blinds Yamura with a flash of energy and retreats outside the city to regroup with the magicians. "Coward! Come back and face me! I will not allow you to rob me of my victory after I have fought so hard and poured all of my soul into this battle." Enraged, the Sakari chases after him in pursuit. Yamura stumbles several times until his vision clears. Hatred burns like red-hot coals inside of him. "I gave you my respect as a fellow warrior, and this is how you repay me? You are a coward! I will flay the skin from your body and hang your entrails upon the city gates. Curse you, Enkidu! Curse you, you cowardly monkey!" Hui begins to laugh. "I warned you not to put respect upon a creature too lowly to be deserving of such. The humans are nothing more than disgusting animals. They are not worthy of our respect." Yamura is too angry to respond to Hui. It enrages him to think that the Grand General may have been right. Enkidu seemed different. He seemed to fight with honor and a greater skill than any he has ever before encountered. To think that he too is no better than any of the other humans is infuriating. "We will kill them all," Ymir growls. "No more prisoners. All of the humans die." Hui grins widely. "That is more like it. This brings me back to the slaughter of Kolnak." Ymir recalls the screams of the people of Kolnak as their village burns around them and flinches. "Come, help me find that coward. He must not escape his fate." Enkidu stands outside the city's rear gates and near the home of his slain kinsman, Yassian. As the remaining Sakari officers approach, blood drenches his face, arms, and chest. Behind him, the gathered magicians stand around the still glowing dimensional pathway to the Sakari homeworld of Averno and prepare the ritual spell to close the portal. "Damn, it's too risky to bring Ymir any closer. I will not be able to make him fall into the portal without bringing him within range of the others. Should he manage to kill just one of the magicians, all will be lost. I must stand firm. I cannot falter. The demons cannot be allowed past me. I am the only line of defense between these demons and the fall of mankind." "You have repeatedly told me not to underestimate the power of Levant magic. Now is the moment that we require 7 magicians, and yet you still have not shared with us why you are still confident in your victory," Fausto says, confronting Refugio. "Do not despair," Refugio reassures him. "Everything I have claimed is indeed true. All is not lost. Even left with but myself, humanity would not fall to these creatures. I can close the portal with no other magicians remaining but myself." "That's impossible," Fausto shouts in alarm. Refugio chuckles. "Your knowledge of magic is limited to what you have learned in the priesthood. In Levant, I have been free to study abroad and learn the wonders of all magic around the world in our spectacular world. There are countless spells and incantations that you simply could not imagine. Duplicating the presence of 6 other magicians is a simple feat when compared against some of the things that my eyes have seen." "Then could you not just destroy all of the demons outright and spare us the need for ritual?" Refugio shakes his head. "While I am powerful, I too am more aware of my own limitations than anyone else. In battle, the 3 demon commanders exceed even my abilities. I might be able to slay 1 or 2 of them, but it would be at great cost. Likely, I would not have the stamina remaining to be able to do anything about the 3rd, including sealing them away." Fausto sighs loudly. "Then it seems our original plan is still in place. We must close the portal and banish the 3 strongest of the invaders." Refugio nods. "Then before something else happens that may complicate matters further, we shall begin. Firstly, to save on some of the mana needed to create a stand-in, we shall use the Demon Witch here as a replacement for one of our fallen allies." He pushes the Sakari Queen forward. Her body is still sensitive from healing from the deep tissue burns, but her stamina is too low to currently fight back against her aggressors. As such, she is kept bound by magic alongside the mages. "I would never assist you, vermin," Inyana shouts. Refugio laughs. "Oh, it will not be of your free will. I will compel you to obey." Inyana's body is surrounded by a flame-like aura as she becomes irate at the insult. Me? Me obey you? How dare you? I will slaughter you all. Filthy animals. Disgusting apes. Every last one of you will perish." Refugio begins a series of chants of unfamiliar incantations. A glow envelops Inyana, and she is moved to stand with them, bound by mystical chains. "Will this work?" Fausto asks, unsure. "Can she really be used as a replacement for one of the needed mages?" She is a self-proclaimed magician. I have read the spell over many times, and understand that only one magician, the one doing the chant, must be the willing participant. The other 6 magicians serve only as magical conduits, Refugio says. So even an adept slave shall suffice. We still require one more, Fausto says, hesitant, though still impressed. Refugio smiles and pulls a folded parchment from his robe. He whispers to the paper and sets it aflame. The ground beside him trembles as the ashes spur an artificial being to growth. Pallid and naked, void of any sexual organs or body hair. My spiritual energy is contained within this doll. It will serve as our 7th. Release me! Yana screams, tugging at the chains. You could not restrain her before. How are you sure this will work? Simeon asks. She still seems to have a lot of willpower remaining. She will not willingly comply. Battle has significantly weakened her. It is true, at full strength, I could not hope to bind this one. Enkidu rushes over to them out of breath and covered with bleeding wounds. He has seen terrible battles, and yet he still remains standing. Fausto, you must hurry. The other 2 commanders are coming for her. We must execute her quickly before they can regroup. Refugio shakes his head. We cannot. She is necessary for the spell to close the portal. Controlling her will save me precious energy from having to create another doll to take her place. Enkidu is confused. What is he speaking of? Do you truly intend to let her live? Enkidu, it is only temporary. After we close the portal, there will be no further need to keep her alive, Fausto reassures him. Enkidu looks over at Refugio, less trusting of the stranger from Levant. Is this true? Do you intend to put her to death when you are finished? Refugio feigns insult. Why would I lie to you? Do you accuse me of being in league with the enemy forces? I cannot believe that you would throw such terrible accusations when I have come to this village to free you and your people from the oppression of these demons. I know of your city's love for science and alchemy, Enkidu says. Studying the corpse of one of these creatures is an opportunity that one such as yourself could never pass up on. We do not have the time for fighting amongst ourselves, Fausto shouts. We are running out of time. And Yana begins to laugh, sensing the approach of her brother and Hui. You are not running out of time. Your time has officially run out. All of you are about to die. Yamura and Hui reach the clearing around the portal with a small group of their remaining soldiers. In addition to Fausto and Refugio, they see that Enkidu has rejoined the human resistance. Yamura begins to shake with anger, clenching his fists tightly. Hui sees Yamura tensing and grins. Easy, General. We must prioritize saving the Queen and stopping the mages over revenge. Yamura nods in reluctant agreement. Kill those magicians and free Queen Inyana. The humans' victory depends on their success. If they do not have any mages left, they will not be able to close the doorway home and cut us off from our reinforcements. The fate of our entire operation hinges upon this one final battle. He draws his sword and raises it into the air to motivate his remaining soldiers. For our reign and all of Averno, free your queen and kill the humans. End their pathetic resistance once and for all. One of the Sicarii releases a burst of energy at the group, but Enkidu darts into the path, cutting the attack in half with his sword. I will not allow you to pass, Enkidu says, holding his sword up in defiance. I will protect the magicians with my life. The Sicarii rush forwards, and Enkidu swiftly dashes through their ranks. Large sprays of blood erupt from the fallen invaders' bodies. A lowly soldier never stood a chance against you. You really are an exceptionally powerful human. No one other than me deserves the right to kill you. I have earned that right, and I shall not allow it to slip through my grasp. Your judgment has been compromised, Yamura. Your respect for this creature is unnatural. It is disgusting. He brings his sword down on Enkidu's blade, driving the tip into the dirt. The humans are nothing more than vermin for us to exterminate in our conquest of this world. You insult me, Hui, Ymir shouts, pivoting to slash at Enkidu's throat. The man blocks with Tiavan, but is caught by an elbow to the face from Hui. While I acknowledge the uniqueness of this human, and his impressive combat skill, I do not hold any respect for a coward such as he. This human will die as miserably as all the others. I shall spare no human to live. Coward? Enkidu asks, rubbing his jaw. Is it cowardly to come to the aid of your friends? Of your fellow villagers? I willingly trade my life for their survival. Call me what you will, but I know in my heart that only one of us fights with honor, and it is not you, demon. Yamura roars with anger and takes a step forward. Enkidu parries, knocking the blade to the side and causing Yamura to stumble a step diagonally to the right. The Sakari moves his other hand quickly across his body and slashes Enkidu across the chest. Hui attacks from the side, and Enkidu raises his elbow to block. Yamura grunts with exertion, whipping his sword back around and cutting across Enkidu's ribcage. Enkidu stumbles and manages to block a second slash from Hui, but takes one down the center of his back from behind. It seems he cannot handle both of us at the same time any longer, Hui says. We have seen the best humanity has to offer. We no longer have anything to fear. I do not want nor require your assistance, Hui, Ymir growls. This one is mine to kill. Stow your pride, General. We must focus on our mission, and that comes before your desires. This human has made fools of us, Ymir growls. He has questioned our integrity, and brought the mighty army of Nalrain low. Even my sister has been forced to her knees as his captive. This human must pay dearly for his transgressions. Do not lie to me, and say that you are doing this for anything more than your wounded pride, Hui shouts. Saving the Queen is our utmost concern right now. We must kill these humans and make an example of them for any of their species that would seek to resist our might. Ymir grinds his teeth together in anger, but says nothing in response. Enkidu raises his hand, shaking, and concentrates his energy into his fingertips. Brahmast! Enkidu is stopped abruptly. A deep gash is carved down his chest. Blood explodes outwards as he falls to his back. That attack, Hui says, sheathing his sword, was in Captain Rivious's final report. You see, we knew all along that you were the real threat in this city. Inyana cast a spell on the scouting party, so that everything they witnessed was transmitted directly to us in Averno. You have been slowly losing this battle from the moment that you first drew your sword upon us. Hui stands on Enkidu's chest and lowers his blade to the warrior's throat. Aginestra! Hui leaps backwards, patting his forearm out with his hand as it catches on fire. You should not have gotten involved, you little pest, Hui says as he glares at Simeon, who stands before him with his palms outstretched. Master Ismail died believing that stopping you at any cost is what we must do. I shall honor his memory and do the same. Enkidu crawls to his feet and pushes the young magician behind him. Leaf, I cannot allow these monsters to murder anyone else. But I can help you. Surely with your sword skills and my spells we can defeat them, Simeon pleads. Enkidu balls his fist, striking the youth in the face and sending him crashing to his back. Go! If your pride will not allow you to flee this city, then go and protect the other villagers as they escape." He turns his attention back to the Sakari generals. "These two, however, are mine alone to face, and you will only get in my way." "He is truly remarkable. He should already have succumbed to those injuries, yet he stands and fights on," Ymura thinks. "My earliest estimates of him were correct. He did not flee because of cowardice. He fled out of duty. He came here to make sure that we were ultimately defeated and his friends were kept safe. He intentionally lured us here. We fell right into this human's trap like headstrong fools. He knew of our pride and exploited it as a weakness. Damn it! He has once again made a fool of me." Ymura extends his claws and moves to stand beside Hui. "This has gone on for far too long. He is too dangerous to be left alive. We must finish this. I fear that his power will continue to grow in his desperation." "Absurd. He is merely drawing his life force to continue. As soon as that is spent, he will cease to be an obstacle for us," Hui argues. "No, we cannot risk him coming up with another unforeseen strategy against us. I was wrong to prolong this battle." Hui eyes him with surprise. "You admit your folly? How unlike you, Ymura." "Say what you will, but I value my own survival over any semblance of honorable decorum. We must kill this human, even if it requires us both." Enkidu fights to remain conscious. Ymura's Seal Accelerator ability has allowed him to continuously regenerate any sustained damage, while he fatigues. A handful of tattoos remain on the Sakari, but they are more than enough to remain in control of the 2-on-1 fight. Enkidu's head drops forward, and his eyes close, but he quickly shakes it off. "You will not survive this," Hui says, he and Ymura both manifesting orbs of energy, and shoving them together to form a single mass of violently spinning destruction. Unable to dodge, Enkidu is hit by the blast and strewn to the ground. Smoke rises from the warrior's body, and he does not move. "Finally," Hui says, sighing loudly. "That human lasted far too long against us. It's actually quite a shameful reflection on our performance." "Hui!" Inyana screams. "Now is your chance! Kill the mages and set me free of this bondage!" Ymura looks down at the still motionless Enkidu, then at his magically bound sibling. Suddenly, Ymura pivots, slashing Hui across the chest. "It is now time for me to break the chains that hold me prisoner to the king and queen. In this moment I claim my freedom." "What?" Hui whispers, falling back with blood trailing from his wound. "What have you done, you traitor?" "In this world, I am no longer bound by the rules of Marduk, or you, sister," Ymura says, turning his gaze to the magicians. "Finish closing the portal." "Brother, how dare you!" Inyana screams, tugging at her chains with fury. "You shall not get away with this treachery!" Soon the humans will be nothing more than a memory, a blackened blemish on the history of this world. I will not, however, do any more to increase the power or stature of Marduk. Let the other lords conquer him. I am no longer his slave." "You will pay for this betrayal 1,000 deaths," Inyana screams. "I shall make you suffer unending horrors." "Dear sister, you will not report this. When the portal is closed, I will allow the humans to kill you." Enkidu crawls to his feet and shakily fixes his sword on Ymura. Ymura laughs. "You are at death's door. Victory cannot be found in your condition." "I will not give up. I will fight you to my last breath." Ymura leaps at Enkidu, slashing him with his claws. Enkidu blocks with his sword, but the sheer force knocks him to the ground. Behind them, the ground shakes violently as magical chains wrap around the portal and tighten it. Quickly, the fissure vanishes from existence. It is finished. Your allies has done me a tremendous service. With the portal closed, nothing can be reported back to Marduk. This world is mine to rule alone. You are a murderer and will pay for your crimes. It is not murder, it is conquest. Your petty human gods do not rule me. I forge my own path. Enkidu rushes Ymir with a renewed strength. The Creator rules all worlds, even yours. I am not religious, human, Ymir growls. Whether your world or every world is ruled by a single god matters to me not. All that matters to me is strength, and the annihilation of all of my enemies. It does not matter what you believe, Enkidu shouts, his attacks growing more intense with his rising emotions. All creation was made to praise him and his wonders. I refuse to believe that my only purpose is to add to the ego of some distant and emotionless deity. I live for myself and no one else. You only live under the illusion of your decisions. We all serve the destiny that God has determined for us. I live to ensure that I do everything in my power to see him glorified. You are a zealous fool, Ymir screams, trying to match Enkidu's ferocity. Think for yourself and forge your own path. There is no such thing as destiny or divine fate. Ymir is forced on the defensive, as Enkidu's sword slashes become both faster and stronger. It takes everything Ymir has to be able to block each of the man's attacks. The Sicarii struggles to mount any kind of offense, continuing to be pushed back. Basaya! Ymir shouts, thrusting his free hand out to try and catch Enkidu with black fire. Enkidu twists an evasion and manages to drive the tip of his blade through the Sicarii's shoulder. Ymir shouts out in pain and brings his own sword up vertically, causing Enkidu to jump back and withdraw his blade. Ymir holds his bleeding arm, chest heaving in pain and exhaustion. Damn you, he growls. You should not be this strong. None of you were supposed to be this strong. Your scouting of our world was flawed, Enkidu says. If not me, some other brave warrior would have ended your invasion. I cannot be alone in my defiance of your tyranny. That cannot be, Ymir whispers, refusing to admit defeat. No, you must be the strongest warrior of all humanity. There is no other way that I could be defeated by one of you. We Sicarii are the superior warriors. We are smarter, faster, more powerful. Our civilization is far more advanced and our magic's deeper. You are like pathetic children in our presence. Even a child may defy their elders if they feel strongly enough against their oppression, Enkidu says. You gambled greatly on this invasion wager, but you have come up lacking. Your efforts have failed. You have been defeated. No. Ymir continues to whisper in disbelief. I did not sacrifice Inyana and Hui just to be defeated by you. I do not know your personal relationships and animosities, but it appears as though you have betrayed your allies and any chance of victory for your army for nothing. It was the Yazata, Ymir growls. They lied to us. They never intended for us to succeed. Yazata? Enkidu is alarmed. What have you to do with the Yazata? Do you think that your people alone are in communication with the Yazata? They manipulated our development the same as you. I do not know their true goals, but I believe now that nothing they did was for the benefit of either of our species. The Yazata are self-serving and secretive. They set us up for failure, by withholding valuable information on this world and its inhabitants. Enkidu is unsure what to make of Yamura's claims. If it is true that they have been in contact with the Yazata, then some among the angels must be corrupt. When the war is over, he will ask Master Hoyles about the matter. Until then, he cannot be concerned of such things. All that matters now is finishing off the last of the invaders and ending their attack on the city. Yamura knows that his chances for victory are dwindling. As he tires, somehow the human only continues to find strength. Whether it be from within himself or some unseen external source, Enkidu is an unrelenting foe. If he is not killed now, there will be no chance either victory or escape for the Sicarii. Fearing his opponent's unpredictable surges of power and seemingly unending well of strength, Yamura channels the remainder of his tattoos and converts the seal energy into attack power. With his boosted strength, Yamura pushes forward and breaks through Enkidu's defenses. With his full power released, Yamura cuts down Enkidu's chest. Blood sprays outwards as the warrior falls to his knees. "You have fought bravely. I have never battled anyone such as you before." Yamura freezes, feeling cold steel piercing his side. He looks down to see Hui's sword sticking from his torso. "Bastard!" Hui coughs, barely conscious as he holds his arm outstretched. "Did you think that I would allow your betrayal to stand? Even if we are all killed by the humans, I will make sure that you follow me into oblivion for your treason." "Hui, you fool!" Yamura growls and turns to face him. "Can you not see that we were all manipulated? This entire attack was orchestrated by the Yazata, for reasons beyond any of our comprehension. It was not Marduk's plan to invade this world, it was theirs. We are all but pawns to the Yazata." "None of that matters anymore," Hui coughs. "My only concerns remain upon dealing with your betrayal. For the honor of Narain, you will die today, Yamura." Hui raises his other hand. "You are far more weakened than I, Grand General," Yamura taunts. "Even wounded, you still cannot defeat me." Hui grins, his teeth stained red with blood. "I will be waiting for you in hell, traitor." Hui fires a burst of energy, but the attack speeds past Yamura. Yamura blinks in disbelief. He knew that Hui was severely injured, but he at least thought he would have to dodge the Grand General's final attack. "That was just pathetic," Yamura mocks. "How low you have been brought, Hui." "Finish this, my queen," Hui says, ignoring Yamura and collapsing to the ground just as his energy blast slams into Refugio's chest and sends him sprawling backwards. Inyana rips free from her chains, lunging forward and raking her claws across Refugio's throat as he falls. Instead of blood, dirt particles separate from the magician's throat. His body hits the ground and becomes dust. "An earthen clone?" Inyana whispers with surprise. "Inaza Mastra!" Refugio chants from behind, electrocuting Inyana with a surge of lightning from his fingertips. Yamura holds his hand to his side, trying to stop the bleeding by focusing his energy on the wound. "Damn Hui, he has cut me deeply, and I have no more seal sigils remaining to release and heal myself." Enkidu shakily crawls to his feet, holding a hand to his own bleeding chest. "We are both in bad shape. This battle could go either way at this point. I should have been more thorough in killing Hui. My oversight in failing to kill that bastard may have cost me both this battle and my life. Hui lifts his head off the ground. His vision is clouded and his body is aflame with pain. He sees Inyana on her hands and knees, gasping for breath as Refugio floods her again with lightning magic. He forces himself back onto his feet. I cannot allow my queen to be killed by these primates. Even if I must sacrifice my own life, I must protect her. Hui taps into his life energy, rushing to Inyana's side and slashing at Refugio. The magician erects a barrier at the last second, blocking Hui's claws with a pinkish-red colored shield. Inyana shakily looks up at her protector in admiration and confusion. Go! Save yourself, my queen! Hui screams, slashing at Refugio again and again. Inyana, in desperation, sprints away. She runs past the other magicians, dodging several bursts of magical flames and binding chains. Lascaux attempts to intercept her, chanting quickly to increase his own speed to match hers. Inyana pivots, slashing through the magician's throat. As Lascaux falls back, trailing blood, Elamachus rushes in with a conjured spear. Inyana shatters the weapon and thrusts her hand through his chest. Fausto's eyes widen in horror as he witnesses his allies falling all around him. As he hits the earth, Lascaux catches sight of one of the Chakram Obligo, lying only a few feet away. He reaches out, the last of his strength, closing his fingers around the disc. Hui stumbles, dropping to a knee. The experienced mage Refugio seems to be undamaged by their skirmish. Damn you, Hui coughs. How can you be so much stronger than the others? Refugio glances over at Lascaux, seeing him grabbing hold of the chakram. If they can deal with the female, that leaves this one for me to dispatch. That should not be too difficult a task. The Levant mage raises a hand to the sky, summoning magical lightning to envelop the Sakari Grand General. Hui screams in agony, smoke rising from his body. How much damage can your body withstand, I wonder? Refugio muses. If you were not such a great threat to this world, I would consider keeping you around for further experimentation. Hui growls, saliva drooling from his gaping jaws. Furious anger encompasses the Sakari, and a murderous aura surrounds his body like a thick red shroud. I will not allow you to humiliate me this way any longer, Hui screams. I am the commander of all of King Marduk's army. I am the strongest warrior in all of Averno. Refugio chuckles. The strongest of Averno must be similar to the cleanest vagrant of Levant, if the power you are displaying is any indication. How dare you! Hui screams, his aura erupting into a brilliant, fiery cyclone. I will make you suffer! While Refugio battles Hui and Enkidu continues to fight against Yamura, the other defenders of humanity struggle to stay alive against the superior Sakari Queen. Lascaux throws the chakram at Inyana's back, but the Sakari Queen pivots, catching the disc in her hand. You will not succeed in sealing me in this infernal device. Your efforts are futile. She grins, hurling the disc back at the magician. The chakram bites into Lascaux's neck, and he is no more. One less distraction, Inyana says with relief. She turns once more to face Fausto, who is the only one left standing against her. Your resistance has failed. All of your allies are gone. This war is over. I have no options left, Fausto says, balling his fists in frustration. Tears run down the old man's cheeks. Enkidu, Refugio, I leave the rest up to you. Enkidu pauses from his battle with Yamura, sensing Fausto's spirit change dramatically. What is that old fool doing? It feels as though he is drawing all of his life force together. No! Fausto, you old bastard! Do not do this! There must be another way, he screams. Yumura watches with interest, rather than using the opportunity to strike down his opponent while he is distracted. Does this old man intend to blow himself up? Drawing all of his life energy together is a risky gamble. Perhaps I should step in and assist. He begins to laugh. No, that will not be happening. I will be lucky if the human manages to take out my sister. There will be one less headache for me in the long run. Yisali Kibot! Fausto screams. The ground in front of Inyana erupts into flames, blocking her path. An inhuman growl echoes from within the flames, as a massive clawed hand reaches out and grabs the Sakari. Inyana shouts in pain and surprise, as the hand squeezes her tightly. Even weakened, the Sakari Queen is able to begin to pry the beast's claws apart. If something isn't done quickly, she will break free completely, and Fausto will have sacrificed his life for nothing. Even the entirety of my soul is not strong enough to bind her, Fausto thinks with shame. She surely must be the foulest thing to ever walk this world. I cannot let things end this way. I am still alive. And while that is the case, I must do all that I can to stop her evil. With a sharp movement of his hand, Fausto uses magic to rip the chakram free of Lascau's throat and bring the disc crashing against Inyana's chest. Red eyes peer from the flames as the beast's hand draws back. Enkidu stares in awe, witnessing Inyana being pulled into the abyss and disappearing. Her screams echo loudly from the ground, even after she has vanished from sight. From the earth, the chakram is vomited, steam rising up from the device. Contained within the disc is Inyana's soul. In the dark abyss, her mortal body is devoured by the fell beast, conjured at the cost of Fausto's life energy. What was that spell? Enkidu wonders. Such a powerful magic. Fausto drops to a knee, clutching his chest. He turns towards Enkidu and smiles. It is up to you, my friend, Fausto whispers weakly before collapsing to the ground. Fausto! Enkidu screams, reaching out in vain. Yumura trembles as he watches his sister pulled down into the abyss. That human offered his own life as a tribute to banish Inyana. Better her than me. Now only 2 magicians remain in my way. Yumura calms himself and prepares to end the conflict once and for all. He is dead, Enkidu says, in tears as he checks the motionless form as a lost friend. Enkidu stands up. A vortex of blue energy whips around him. His hair stands on end and his eyes glow with rage. His anger has tapped into the bloodline of his ancestors and allowed him to access a small fraction of power of the Yazata. Fausto, Yassian, Amastus, Chiraxime, Lascau, Ismail, Elamaches. So many have died. I've failed them all. An inhuman howl rises from the man's aura as 2 wings of blue energy unfold from his back for a brief instant. Enkidu's energy skyrockets far beyond that of any of the Sakari warriors. What are you? Yumura backs away in fear, sensing an energy seemingly no longer human, but that of something more like one of the Yazata. You do not possess the ability of Seal Asalair, so how were you able to continuously come back from the verge of defeat to surpass me time and again? Yumura raises his arm to attack, but Enkidu rushes him with incredible speed and delivers an elbow to the face. Yumura skids back, shaking off the attack with difficulty. Blood runs down the Sakari's nose, and he's sure that it is broken. How could that human deliver such a powerful blow? Enkidu materializes inches from Yumura's face, connecting with a devastating punch. Yumura tumbles backwards, skidding across the ground. He throws a hand out to stop himself, but the momentum spins him around, and he rolls over his side several times. As he finally ceases movement, Enkidu is already atop him. Yumura's eyes widen, and he is unable to react before Enkidu's fist sinks deep into his sternum. Blood explodes from his mouth, and an impact crater swells out around them from the force. Enkidu's fist is driven down into Yumura's chest again and again. The Sakari's bones are crushed, and he screams out in agony. He lifts his right hand to try and defend, but Enkidu brings his sword down across Yumura's wrist. A blood-curdling scream bellows from deep within the Sakari, and blood sprays from his severed limb in a steady stream. Enkidu stabs his sword downwards deep into Yumura's chest. The blade hits a rib and becomes lodged, preventing his heart or lungs from being pierced. Yumura coughs, choking on his own blood. How have I allowed myself to die like this? He is only a human. He should not have been able to defeat me. Yumura wonders in horror. Enkidu tugs to pull his sword free, but it catches on the bone and will not dislodge. Yumura bucks his body up and tosses the warrior to his back. He stands up slowly. The blessed sword Tiavon remains stuck in his chest. You have done the unthinkable, and the damage you have dealt to me. Never before have I been so severely wounded in battle. Yumura begins to glow with a faint red light. Unfortunately for you, my sister has inadvertently left me a gift. He laughs, drawing the spirits of Elamaches and Lascaux into his own aura. 2 tattoos materialize on his chest. Yumura pulls Enkidu's sword from him and grins as he calls upon Seal Asilaire to close the wound. It required both of their energies to heal my stab wound, Yumura says, looking at his mutilated arm. I do not have enough power to heal myself completely. It truly has been an honor battling a fighter of your caliber. With no energy left in reserve, this shall be our final exchange. I have given you all that I have and held nothing back. You have pushed me past my limits, and I have grown stronger from our battle. For that, you have my eternal thanks. Enkidu tenses, struggling to think of anything he can do to stop the Sakari that is once again rejuvenated. I cannot defeat him. The more I wear down and become injured, the more he continues to find ways to recover. Enkidu! Simeon shouts. You cannot defeat him on your own. Enkidu grinds his teeth together in agitation. That is not what I need to hear now, boy. The chakram! Simeon shouts, pointing to Fausto's lifeless body. We must seal him away with the chakram. That's right, Enkidu thinks. If the spell was strong enough to seal away the other two, then surely it has the power to contain the lesser of the three. Whatever you are planning, I will not allow it, Yumura growls, extending his arm and focusing an orb of fiery black energy. This battle is finished. Do not dishonor our duel with desperate and futile attempts. Face defeat as a true warrior and die on your feet proudly. I care not for the respect of a monster like you. I would sacrifice all of my pride as a warrior to keep my people safe. Enkidu dives for Fausto's robe and with relief grabs a hold of the remaining chakram obligo. The energy blast hits Enkidu in the back, but he spins along the ground, pivoting and hurling the disc at Yumura's chest. What is that supposed to do? Yumura growls, looking down at the chakram. Simeon limps towards them and begins to chant, causing the disc to glow brightly. The spell saps the Sakari's strength and restricts the movement of his arms and legs. Yamura is no match for the Chakram Obligo. Thank you, Fausto. Because of you, we have won, Enkidu thinks. Curse your magic, Yamura howls, straining with all of his might to no avail. Our battle was supposed to end as the greatest of each of our races, fighting to the death. I refuse to be locked away like some kind of animal. Yamura screams as red energy arms reach out from the disc and rip his spirit from his body, ending the proud warrior's struggle in an instant. The Sakari's lifeless form collapses to the ground and his soul is pulled into the disc, which hums loudly and vibrates before finally becoming still. A final scream echoes outward before it too is stilled. It is finally over, Enkidu says, sighing loudly. After so much death and violence, the Sakari have been defeated. We shall finish off the low-class soldiers with little problem. Humanity has claimed victory this day, Refugio says, holding a Chakram Obligo in his hand. Enkidu sees that Hui is nowhere to be found, and with relief, he smiles before collapsing to his back in exhaustion. The rogue Yazata Gadriel nudges the corpse of a Sakari soldier with his foot and makes a disgusted face. While he prefers the Sakari to humans, all of the so-called higher moral creatures are still repulsive in his sight. I cannot believe they failed to take such a small human settlement, Gadriel says with disgust. The Sakari are worthless. I did not expect this outcome. For a mortal, Inyana and her generals were exceedingly powerful. To think they could be defeated by mere primates. It is of no consequence whether the Sakari succeeded or failed. We shall still see the destruction of humanity. We can accomplish little more in this city. One day, we shall be the witness to their final day, Cedrion says, looking around the many bodies for something. He turns corpses over and searches through the rubble, but does not find what he is after. The humans have their own strengths that you would be wise not to overlook. Their victory was always a possibility. We invested too much time grooming the Sakari into invading this world. Now that the humans have beaten their invasion, the Sakari forces are devastated. It will be many years before their strength is anywhere near this level again. We do not choose a single mortal's side to back in a conflict. Such petty concerns are beneath our stature as Yazata. Whoever comes out on top should never affect our interests. How does the Sakari losing not affect our plans? Gadriel asks, growing irritated. Our primary goal is to sow chaos. Do you not agree that much was accomplished? Chaos could be wrought without wasting years of preparing the Sakari leadership for an invasion that was thwarted by a village of lowly farmers in only a handful of days. Cedrion chuckles. Do you suddenly count your years as a mortal would? Investing 1,000 years towards a goal is nothing to being such as we. You are also overlooking a few facets of this battle's outcome. Which is... Neither Inyana, Hui, or Yamura are truly dead. Any of those three can be raised again for our purposes at any time. The three strongest Sakari are preserved from aging and death until the moment we choose opportune. Humanity's defenders shall return to dust, and we will wait until the time is right to bring forth the Sakari and bind them to the Chosen to finish what they began here. Could we have not done something to ensure the Sakari's victory before sealing their leaders away ourselves? Even the elimination of one or two of the human mages would have made a tremendous difference. We cannot risk exposing ourselves so long as our former brethren continue to search for us, unless it is absolutely inevitable. A large invasion of the Sakari draws attention, so the others were most surely watching from their perches in Ansha. Had we popped our heads up even once during the invasion, we have been set upon by all the might of our pursuers. Cedrion and Gadriel materialized in the study of the magician Ismail, overturning tables and wrecking the place, in a desperate search for the Book of the Black Earth. Gadriel locates the book lying on the floor, but fails to notice that there are several pages missing. "What of the book? We cannot just leave it here," Gadriel asks. "The longer we tarry here in the Kisha realm, the more likely it is that we will be found by our former brethren. The book will do exactly as it has always done, tempt whoever finds it and draw out their true nature. Humanity cannot resist, and they will always ultimately destroy themselves." "What further plans do you have for the Sakari? Is it not the elimination of humanity, our primary objective? A handful of Sakari will not be able to accomplish what their entire army was unable. From shadows we shall use the Sakari to infiltrate their society and culture, much the same as we have worked with the Aesir and other false gods in the past. Humans will embrace depravity, and their civilization will collapse, as it has done a dozen times before. Amidst the rubble and ashes in the end, we shall stand triumphant over even our Creator." "You know more than you are telling me. Am I wrong?" Cedrion laughs. "You are not wrong. So long as the book is in our possession, all will work out to a satisfactory conclusion." In a flash of light, the two Grigori vanish from the world and retreat back to Averno.